Well, hello, Adrian Smith here. Thank you so much for joining today's masterclass on AI. Pretty much focused at not for profits, but you can apply this across the board, whether you're in not for profit, in business at some level. But I'm really excited to get into some of this and to share some of my learnings. Now, I just want to do some housekeeping here first of all. If the video lags or kind of drops out a little bit, just hit refresh. Sometimes that happens on LinkedIn Live. So not to be worried about that. I'm going to be recording it anyway. And so if you get stuck, then get in touch and I can send you the recording after the fact. But also, I'm not going to take up the full hour. I know I advertised that as an hour-long masterclass, but who wants to do that? If you want to learn more, then I'd be happy to chat after this. So again, get in touch, leave a comment, send me a message, whatever it might be, and we can do that. But basically, today is all about this. How do I help you take one step closer towards embracing AI as a thing? Whether that's in your day-to-day, whether that's in your business, or whether that's just purely mindset at this stage. We're all on a journey with AI, myself included. And I need to say this, I am not an AI expert. I definitely don't claim that title. I don't have a degree in large scale computing. I haven't studied machine learning to develop large language models. That's not what I've done. There are people out there that have done that. And I'm very grateful for them. But here's the thing: the business that I own is Run Gopher. Now we have been using AI since 2018. We built our platform off the back of AI. But 12 months ago, even if I was to tell a customer we use AI in the background to build conversational SMS, most people would say that doesn't mean anything to me. But nowadays, if I say I have AI in the background to build out conversational SMS, people ask me what's the language model that I use. So in 12 months, we've come a long way from not even really understanding or knowing about AI or its impact or what's been kind of brewing in the background to now kind of understanding a whole lot more. Now, I do need to say this too. AI is not Chat GPT. ChatGPT is definitely not the first thing that was created with AI. AI models go back to the 1950s. Large computing, large language models, understanding a lot of data. And so ChatGPT has just kind of thrust forward the community to understanding that there is some stuff happening in the tech world that we really need to be understanding. So I am not a tech expert, but I have learned some things in my time in business using AI, teaching a model, building a platform that I hope is useful for you today. Now, I'm also conscious of this. There's probably a couple of camps that we all sit in. Now, the first two might be skeptical and fearful. Now, I don't know if you want to leave a comment. Are you skeptical and fearful? If you see me pick up my phone, it's because I want to engage with the comments as well. Are you skeptical and fearful of AI? Leave a comment if that is the case. And that is totally fine. We've got to start somewhere. The other side to this is, are we accepting and engaged? That's where we need to get to. We need to go from skeptical and fearful to accepting and engaged. Because here's the thing, this is the truth of the matter. AI is not going anywhere. This is only the start of AI. Only the start. I read one research paper recently from Stanford that said this, that AI, if we put it in human terms, is almost like a toddler at this stage. Now, that's a scary thought because of what is currently out there in terms of what it can do. AI is not a far off thing. AI is here and it is now, and it's moving faster and greater than ever before. Now, Bill Gates also said that this is the biggest tech change in history. First was the internet, and that was massive, but nothing is as big as what is happening now. So we need to learn to accept and engage in this. Okay, where are we headed today? We're going to be talking about just understanding AI in simple terms. I want to simplify it for us all so that we can take a step towards it. I want to talk about some of the challenges, some of the ethical considerations that we, especially in the not for profit sector, need to be thinking about. And then lastly, I want to start to get practical. What are the things that we can do in our own time that we can get practical to embrace AI, even at the smallest moment? Now, let me just take a pause. I'm going to look at my phone and see what comments are coming through, and then I'll be right back with you. Wow, lots of people joining. Thank you so much. People from Dallas, from Melbourne, from Fiji, from WA, India, Melbourne, Sydney. Here we go. I'm in Newcastle in New South Wales. Some from Nigeria. This is amazing. Thank you so much for joining, guys. This means a lot, and I hope you hope you get a bunch of value out of this today. Brazil, nervous. Someone said nervous, excited about the possibilities, and uncertain how to progress from here. Well, hopefully, I can help a little bit with that today. It's becoming a great assistant. It is. I'm excited about it. I think it'll help me improve my productivity if utilized. Absolutely, it will. Lots of comments going on. That's awesome. Well, keep them coming. I'll check in again in a little while with what's happening on the chat. But let's dive into it. So first of all, is this? Let's understand AI in simple terms. But before we get there, AI is wild. I want to take us like to the 10,000-foot view just to look at some of the things that are happening in the world with AI at the moment, so that we can kind of then come down to, okay, let's put our feet on the ground and take some practical steps. So AI is wild. This is the single biggest event in tech history, as I said. Now, a good friend of mine, Michael McQueen, said this just this week. He said, we need to think about this as a revolution and not an evolution. This is a complete revolution of tech, not just an evolution. And it's just getting started, as I mentioned in that Stanford report. Now, AI is doing things that when we watch, just leave a comment if you know or you've watched The Jetsons. Now, I look back at that show and I just think that just seems so far fetched. But it what's happening in the world now, we're not far off that. We're not maybe driving around in space yet, but there are some things. Now, this 10,000-foot view, this is just so we can all agree AI is wild. Self-driving cars. Now, I'm not talking lane assist or automatic braking. I'm talking full computing within a car to understand the surroundings, what's happening. I mean, we've seen it in Tesla, but there's taxis in California. There's amazing things happening, and that's just the start. Self-driving helicopters are a thing. They're talking about helicopters flying. You just jump in and it gets you from A to, like, that's wild to me. Now listen to this one. This is kind of scary, weird, and also very intriguing. Is that there's a company out of Europe. I think it's called Stake. I'll put it in the chat if I find it later. But basically, what they've done is they've paired real cells, flesh cells, blood cells, whatever. They've paired that with a 3D printer and AI, and you can go up and select what meat you want, and it will make it from a machine in front of you. Steak, like steak and fish. I don't know what to say. I don't, and you can see, like, do we eat it? I don't know, but that's wild anyway. To be able to make a steak from nothing cells in a 3D printer. Now, drones are being deployed. They're dropping bombs with pinpoint accuracy. That's scary. I don't like that one so much. Robots are talking to us. We've got AIs telling me whether I'm grammatically correct or incorrect, which I love. We've got this is a scary one too. I don't know if you saw this, but deep fakes is really becoming a thing. Being able to simulate someone's both their face, visual features, and their voice to make you believe this. Now, we've seen deep fakes about Biden. We've seen deep fakes about Trump. Um, uh, Morgan Freeman was the last one that I saw. It was just wild. The voice over agent is incredible. AI is wild. Can we just agree on that? It is absolutely wild out there. Now, but let's bring that down. Let's bring that down. Are you all saying love the Jetsons? Love the Jetsons? Yes. Hello. Yeah, people know what I'm talking about. The Jetsons was wild, but there is so much stuff that is wild that's happening out there. Now, from a tech point of view, that it's incredible. There is a lot of smart people in this world doing some very cool things. Now, how do we simplify this down? Now, I want you to think about this. Whenever you turn up to work or to your day, let's picture it like this. Let's picture that your day is like a hallway which is 100 meters long. And within that hallway, there might be 100 doors. Every meter, there's another door. Now, your job through the day or in your role is to find ways to negotiate to unlock those doors throughout the day to progress you forward. They might be called tasks, they might be called meetings, they might be called information, decisions, whatever it is. Every meter, there is another door. Now, if you look down in your imagination, on a key ring, a very large key ring, you've got a set of keys. Now, each of these keys is for a specific door, but you don't know which one. And so you walk to the first door and you look down and you start the process of putting the key in the door to figure out whether that is the right one or not. Now, you will get there eventually. You will get to the end of the hallway. You will make the decisions. You will navigate the key, the lock, turning the handle, and progressing forward. You will get there. But what if it was more like this? This is what AI is in my simplistic version. AI is the ability to look at the data ahead, knowing that there's 100 doors and there's 100 keys. Its job is in the most efficient way possible is to understand which key goes in which door and to highlight that for you so that you can move through progressively quicker. So AI is about tools to allow us to actually progress faster. Now, think about Google Maps is helping you find the quickest route home. Netflix recommends shows based on some of the things that you've been watching, so you end up binge watching. A- AI is it's kind of the magic in the background. At its core, it's just a tool, a way for machines to learn from experience, adjust to new inputs, and perform human-like tasks. Or said this way, excuse me, AI takes in data, the key set in this moment, and the doors. It processes it, learns from it, and then gives us an output, making our lives easier and more efficient. AI is when machines learn from human intelligence in order to automate repetitive tasks, augment cognitive capacities, and facilitate the decision making process. So, in your day, if you can get from one end of the hallway to the other end of the hallway in the most efficient way possible, would you? Or are you happily just going through the key set, unlocking the doors, and hoping for the best? Like I said, you will get there, but it will just take a little bit longer. Let me get into the chat. That's great. Well, thank you again for joining us. So the question is this: Are you willing to accept that there is a tool out there that is able to help you get from one end of the hall to the other end of the hall much more efficiently? Are we there yet? That is, in my way, the simplest version of AI. And it is complex, and there's probably going to be experts out there saying I've missed something here. But for me, in the way that I apply it in my everyday life, in my work, in my calendar, in my emails, in my time management, it is how do I get from one end to the other end the most efficient way possible so that I can get back time doing the things that I absolutely love. Now, the thing is this is if AI can automate so well, which it does, it can take in large amounts of data so well, it can make decisions so well, then that does raise us and push us into point two, which is what are the challenges and some of the ethical considerations that we need to be considering well, a human race as we continue to create this, but as an organization, as an individual. What are some of the things that we need to be considerate of? Now, there was a there was an open letter sent to Forbes in 2022, as they were doing studies around AI and its acceptance and its take up rate. What are the considerations that people should be thinking about? And a letter came in with this, and it was anonymous in my search, but I tried to find the author, and it says this: AI's main failings are in the differences with humans. AI does not have morals, ethics, or conscience. Moreover, it does not have instinct, much less common sense. Its dangers in being subject to misuse are all too easy to see. Now, as I read that, who agrees with that? Who agrees with the fact that its dangers in being subject to misuse are all too easy to see? Now, let's bring that down to a personal level. I run a company which is Run Gopher. Now it's a conversational SMS platform, which we do a whole bunch of things, but SMS and MMS are our core product. Now, in the last 12 months, spam messaging or scam messaging has increased significantly as tech has improved. People have figured out ways to what they call spoof numbers, or to basically represent my mobile number inappropriately. So it could be a message sent from your mobile number to any number of contacts, and they think it's just a random number. If they call that number, it'll go to you personally. So tech has improved significantly. Links that track things and all that. Scam messaging has increased significantly, and the government's cracking down on that. But this sentiment that it's subject to misuse are all too easy to see. We see the applications where tech has gone wrong, where people have used it for the incorrect way. Now, that's no different for AI. Now, we talked about deep fakes at the top of this video, where people are misrepresenting a particular person or trying to get a message out there which is not true. So how do we combat that? What are the considerations that we need to be thinking about as we adopt AI more and more into society, into our business, into our home? What does that look like? Now, the first one is bias. Now, AI systems are trained on data. Now, if that data is biased, then the AI system will be biased. AI it consumes data. If we put in data that is incorrect, then that's the case. So that's the case for ChatGPT at the moment, because what it's doing, it's regurgitating data and finding patterns within data searched, or what people have input, and it can, in some cases, create a bias. There's been a lot of cases out of the States where people have used ChatGPT to try and reference things, and a judge was the most recent one, or a lawyer in this case, where they tried to use ChatGPT to actually help them be more efficient in their preparation for court. But some of the references that it kind of referenced to were incorrect. And so there's a bias there. For whatever reason, that data has been linked incorrectly. Now, the human should have checked that, absolutely. But in this case, they didn't. So there is a bias. So this can lead to discrimination against certain groups of people. You name it. There could be a bias if the information or the data is incorrect. Now, the big one that we all are talking about at the moment is privacy. Like today, there is a transfer of data. You've logged on to something, and so there is information that's going back and forth with privacy. There's a list of people that I know have said attending. Like there's data in our everyday life. We can't escape it. And our data is out there on the internet. We can't escape it. So the question is AI systems collect and use data, and this data can be sensitive in some case. Like let's take a simple form of credit card details or an address or date of birth, all those things. We've seen that enough in Australia in the last year around data breaches. Now, it's important to protect the privacy of individuals whose data is being used. We just need to be conscious of that. Where's it stored? How's it encrypted? Is it scattered data? If someone was to actually break in and get that data, could they actually trace it back to an individual? Have to keep doing that. Transparency. Are we transparent about the systems that we use in our organization? What does that look like? And I'll come to a story after this. But being transparent about whether it's AI, whether it's human, what that looks like. Accountability, it's important that we, like the lawyer in the States, keep AI systems accountable. Is that reference correct? Yes or no? We need to be doing that. And safety, safe AI systems can be used to make decisions that have real world impact on people. Now, we've been working with a partner and been looking at the emerging tech of voice calling in Australia, well, around the world. And we've been working with a partner, and this tech is so incredible, very, very, very advanced in terms of how it can call someone and it sounds exactly like a human because, well, basically it is a human. And so the consideration is, if I was to use that in fundraising or not for profit, if I was to call someone, even though it's a computer, um, do I tell them that it is AI, that it is generated audio? Or do we just move on? Now, the question back to you is, if you were to receive a call, you feel like you've had a great conversation with this person, then at the end of it, it says, I just need you to know that this is AI talking to you. How do you feel? Now we're a long way from just being like, "Oh, that's totally fine. That's pretty cool." We kind of feel maybe a little bit violated at this moment, that we maybe fell for it or that we didn't pick up the signs. But before you know it, that is going to be technology. You're not going to be able to know. And so we need to, as an individual or as an organization, understand what are the implications for us, and especially in the not-for-profit sector. How do people feel about that when a bot is asking them for money? How do we feel? So we need to keep this in check. How are we doing? I just want to pause. Are we still with me? How's everyone tracking? I'd love to know, are you finding this useful? If you could just write in the comments, yeah, loving the content, or I really think you should do more research. Believe me, I've been doing a lot of research. Um, and I'd love to know whether you're finding this helpful at all. Now we've got a lot of people that's possibilities are endless. Yeah, it's the ones that we can't see. We should be. Yeah, the scary part is how fast AI is teaching itself. Absolutely, that's a big one. Artificial intelligence has 4 ways of learning. Yep, deep dive in here. What governing body could regulate this era? Thank you, Stan. Appreciate that. This is great. I just want to add value. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but if I can get you one step closer or expanding your knowledge or understanding just a little bit more, then that's a win for me. So yeah, thanks for that. I'll check back in a second. Now, but here's the thing. In terms of this voice caller, the thing is that it is 100% compliant. So on one end, you have a robot, effectively, or a bot calling out to customers and saying, "Hey, I'm representing this company. We're doing this. Please buy it or fundraise, give me money," whatever it might be. But here's the thing: when humans get involved, we make decisions based on emotion, whereas a bot makes decisions based on data. And so it was 100% compliant. So in this case, when someone was to call and they say, hello, and let's imagine it's an 80-year-old woman and you want her to give money to this organization. Hello, Mrs. Customer. This is so and so from this organization. I'd love for you to be able to give whatever you've got. We would love. Let's imagine she's saying yes and she's giving you the money and all these things. Both human and bot can get that response. But what happens when we sense that we can get more out of her? Well, that's where AI, you can put boundaries upon what can and can't be said. You can push it through to a sale, you can listen to objections, you can move past objections, you can understand the intent of the conversation. Humans make decisions based on emotion. And so the thing with AI is that it is 100% compliant. So it will never move outside the bounds of that you have set. So although there are a lot of risks involved with AI, and especially in this example in the voice call, there are a lot of risks in terms of privacy and transparency and where's the data held and all those kind of things. It is 100% compliant because I've told it to be. And so there are some upsides to using technology for things to keep within the bounds. Now, let's move on. The next point is this. let's get practical. I know we've covered a little bit in this time, and I appreciate your patience. Let's get practical. Let me help you take one step closer towards embedding AI into your daily life. Now, I want you to do this. I want you to take out a piece of paper and a pen or a phone, and I want you to answer these questions. We're going to do this together. Um, First of all, let's think about mind shift, our mindset. And a simple shift towards AI is this: if I can get AI to do 80% of the work, then I've saved 80% of my time. Now, the other 20% is just to add my touch to it, whether that's in content, whether that's in creative, whether that's in frameworks, whether that's in data, whether that's just in checking and quality assurance. How do we help? How do we help ourselves? How do we use AI to get us 80% of the way there? Now, that is the question for now. Let's get some low-hanging fruit and help you do that. So the first question is this: I want you to write down the top 5 things you do each week, which is repetitive. What are the top 5 things you do each week, which is repetitive? Now, my head immediately goes to emails. Man, that is a task that is repetitive. The same questions being asked from different people. Phone calls, booking calendar appointments. It might be looking through Excel spreadsheets. It might be looking at creative. It might be thinking forward to planning and providing frameworks for clients. What are the top 5 things? 5 things that you do each week which are repetitive. Now, if you've got them, I'd love for you to write them in the chat. What are the top 5 things? Top 5 things. Let's get some answers in the chat whilst we go through this. As you're typing that, I'm going to ask the next question, knowing that there's a slight delay. I think it's 10 seconds. So, question 2 is this: how many hours a week would you estimate that this takes you? That these tasks take you? Just put a ballpark figure around it. If it's emails, how many hours a week are you emailing? If it's phone calls, how many hours a week are you on the phone? If it's looking at Excel spreadsheets, how many hours a week are you looking at Excel spreadsheets? Write that in the chat too. First question is this: write down the top 5 things you do each week, which are repetitive. And then number 2 is how many hours would you estimate that takes you? Now we've got a few coming in here: learning, researching, writing, creating, skill practice, emails, coming up with quotes, processes, sending invites. Absolutely. Amazing. Writing an active prioritized to-do list, attending events, courses, POCs, writing code. Man, there's a lot of repetitive tasks in here. So the next question being, how many hours would that take you, as the answers come through? Now, question 3 is, what would it mean, and this is personal, what would it mean if you could get back, let's just even say half of the hours you spend on those tasks? So if you're spending 10 hours a week on emails, what would it mean for you if you could get back an hour a day? What does that mean for you? Being able to get home early, maybe just be able to free up your mind? What does that mean for your kids? If you have kids, when you're being more present, what does it mean for you? Because adopting AI into your daily life there has to be a why behind it. I mean, it's increased efficiency and all those things, but for us to get started, we have to have a desire for something. Maybe it's more hours, maybe it's less time thinking about these silly little administrative tasks, whatever it might be. Logistics, I'm loving it. Hello, perfect week. Okay. Cool. Editing video, emails, presentations, spreadsheets, HR issues, program planning, policy and procedure. There's so much here. Perfect. Now this. Are you willing to try? Are you willing to try? Now let's talk through some practical examples and some tools that you can use. So practical example is number 1, ChatGPT. Everyone's been talking about ChatGPT because it's gotten a lot of media. Now, ChatGPT only works well based on the prompts that you give it. So you really need to learn to understand how to actually use ChatGPT well. Now, ChatGPT can be used for any number of things. It can do graphs for you, diagrams, but a lot of it is around how we actually use it for data, for words. Now, I did a simple thing yesterday, which I'm going to show on the screen, where I just wanted it to tell me, like, I've got a campaign. This is not for profit specific. I've got a campaign over the next 12 months. Can you help me write that out? Now, let me show this. Um, Hopefully, you can see that. But month 1 to 2, introduction and engagement. Month 4 to 6, building relationship. Month 7 and 8. So it is month by month, task by task, week by week. Just a simple prompt. I said, I'm going to have to lean in here. I'm a fundraising specialist looking to nurture my audience for 12 months and then ask for a donation. So it's come up with a plan for that. And then I used another tool to actually then build it out into a flowchart, which is this. Now, I've used the prompts and then I've gotten the flowchart of events that needs to happen over time. I'm really sorry, it's pretty hard to see. I can send you these images or even help you use these tools at the end. But that is the next one. So now I've got a flowchart. So very simple. ChatGPT, from a journey point of view, you could get 80% of the way there and then just edit it. Put your touch. What's your language? What technology kind of tools do you use? Do you use SMS and email? Do you use paid ads? Whatever it might be. Your ability to actually ask the questions is where ChatGPT gets really, really helpful. Now let's talk about emails. Emails are one of those things which, I mean, they're basically someone else is forcing their priorities upon you. So the way that we get time back is to actually take back our inbox, get to it when we want to get to it, and not on someone else's time, and use tools to help us prioritize things. So there is a platform called Superhuman, which is this. Now, Superhuman, blazingly fast email for high performing teams. I use this to some extent, and it's been really, really helpful to be able to go through my emails and actually prioritize some of the things that need to be done. It creates folders for me. It does everything, and it's based on really simple keyboard cues. So that's Superhuman. For repetitive tasks, we know that things are going to happen. I would say also in email, creating templates is helpful. That's not AI. That's a simple tip. Make sure you create templates in your CRM. Now, campaigns, we talked about ChatGPT, but there's also image builders. So you can actually use to build slideshows if you're doing presentations. There's a platform called beautiful.ai. Now you just basically type in what you want to present and it builds a presentation for you. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it gets you 80% of the way there, then that is fine. The next one I want to talk to you about is meetings. A lot of people wrote in here about meetings. There's a lot of meetings. Now, the problem with meetings is, I mean, I do a lot of meetings and I hope they're value packed and really efficient, but who knows that we can get stuck in an endless rigmarole of meetings. And there's very little that happens after the meeting, which I really hate. So if your meetings are online, you could use something like this, which is called Supernormal. Now, basically, it records scripts based on the content going in and out of the computer, builds action points, says who says what, and then can send you a transcript of your meetings online. It's brilliant because you can be talking about action points and what the next steps are. Even if you've got the best handwriting ever and you're taking notes, it's a great prompt for everyone in the meeting to receive this transcript to understand what are the next steps. So that's with meetings. Now, calls. This is where our pitch run go for a little bit. We've just released a new product called Ringless Voicemail. So basically, you record a file and then it can land in someone's voicemail. It doesn't call them. It just bypasses the call and lands directly in their voicemail, which means you can get across a message to a large amount of people very quickly. In not for profit, it works wonders when you're saying thank you, when you're about to prep them for an upcoming campaign. If the CEO wants to deliver a message, if you've got a celebrity, talking about your particular charity, the, it's amazing what we can do. We use AI to bypass the ringer to land in voicemail, and it's incredible. We can follow that up with SMS. Now, Run Gopher's core product is SMS, which is conversational. Now, we use AI in the background to make it conversational. Now, we do things like this, and I want to talk about administration. Let's say you've got 10,000 contacts in your CRM and you have no idea whether their address is correct or not, but you want to send them a singlet for the next fun run. What we do with SMS in Run Gopher is we would send them a message saying, hey, we've got a fun run coming up. Is this your correct address? Because we want to send your singlet out to you. If they say yes, that's wonderful. But if they say no, well, instead of you sending a letter and then having to do all that manually or sending a form and hoping for the best, we say, okay, well, what's your best email address? What's your best physical address or email address? And they say 123 Help Street. Well, that's only helpful, but we need to know the suburb and the state. So we go back saying, is that the full address? We need the suburb and the state. And they say 123 Help Street, Sydney, 2000, New South Wales. And then we extract that data from the SMS and we can update your CRM for you. So suddenly we can use SMS, which is an incredible simple tool, to actually do administrative tasks for you. Where that took you a lot of time before, we can do it in an instant. And so what does it look like for you to take a step towards AI this week? And then, of course, if you're in fundraising or not for profit, you should have heard of Dataro. Now they're providing insights backed by AI as to where donors are up to in their journey, which donors are likely to give, which donors are engaged, which donors are not engaged, which, it's taking in a lot of data from different touch points to understand the donor journey and who's engaged with your organization. Now, they're just a few things. We've talked about ChatGPT, Superhuman, check it out. Super Normal, check it out. There's a theme there. ChatGPT, Beautiful.ai. We've got ringless voicemail. We've got voice AI caller with Run Gopher, which I was talking about before, how we can call. It sounds like a human. Pretty insightful. And then donor insights with Dataro. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tools. We're talking Canva, which has AI represented in it. Lots of different things. I'm going to take a pause and I want to ask a question for you to write in the chat. So far, what has been the most helpful piece of information? I'd love to know that. What have you loved today? I'm about to wrap up, but I'd love to know. What has been the most kind of little snippet of information that you've taken from today that you can take into your week? I'm going to look at my phone, look at the chat, and see where we're all up to. Excuse my coughing too. Probably like a lot of people coming off the back of a cold. Thanks for sharing. Man, you guys have been so lovely to each other as well, sharing links and talking about different things that you're using. That's what this is about. If we can help one another take a little step closer towards efficiency, saving money, making more money if that's the case, then we go. So what's been most helpful? You guys are talking about security. That's great. All of it. Thank you. Brain overload, difference between human and AI, understanding the range of tools around, the suggestions for platforms to try out. That's great. The platforms you said, Superhuman, love the ringless voicemail. Yeah, that's cool. Get in touch if you want to know more. Getting the correct address, showing us how you created that flow chart, understanding AI and how to use it, explanation on Superhuman for email, fundraising. What about spamming, folks? I get asked that question a lot, especially in SMS. It's not about spamming. It's about using tools to allow you to engage with your audience in a way that they want to be engaged. And just a little thing on SMS. The reason that it happens with spam is because it's got a 99% open rate. So better than any other platform, hands down. And the engagement rate's about 45% to 55, depending on your audience. But the thing is with SMS, it's all about how you introduce it well. just sending links and asking for money, and doing what in this country, like Domino's sends a message every Friday at 4 p.m. saying 30% off pizzas, which I love, but it's a transactional message. So with our platform, we look at conversational. How do we engage an audience, ask questions, and it works a treat. Anyway, enough of that. Um, Possibility of not just exploring AI content for processes data, which really saves time. Amazing about AI for efficiency flowchart. What does it look like for me to take a step towards AI this week? Yeah, exactly right. How to best use ChatGPT. Um, there's so many tools, and like maybe I need to create a group or something to keep this conversation going. But there's a lot of tools, and it's just maybe pick one per month, and go, I'm going to try using this for my Excel spreadsheets this month. And how do I actually look at insights in this? How do I update bulk information without having to go through each cell and doing it myself? But how do I use ChatGPT, or there's a bunch of others to help you do that? What does it look like to find trends in emails? What does it look like to find trends in contact? What does it look like to update CRMs and make sure that your data is tidy using SMS or other tools out there? So the summary is this: AI it is insane. I think we established that at the top of this video. It is absolutely insane, but you can simplify it down to points where what tools can I use to help me unlock the next door, whether that is for email, admin, whatever it might be. How do I use these tools to help me be more efficient in my job, to save me time, to save us money, to make more money if that's what you're using them for, but to get back your time so that you can do the things that you absolutely love and you're not spending your nights trolling through Excel spreadsheets when you should be eating dinner with the kids or whatever it might be. What tools can you use to help you be more efficient? Now, this has been a 101 in AI, and I'm definitely going to be doing another one, and I want to deep dive into maybe 2 or 3 like key tools that we use. But I would love for you to ask questions. Definitely message me. You can leave it in the chat. But if there's anything that you would like to know, I'll try and answer it the best I can, at least push you to a resource. I've been going through the Stanford AI Index recently, which is 380 pages and a bunch of journals. And it's fascinating to see the trends around the world of what's happening, what countries are doing, what industries are impacted. And so I want to kind of dive a little deeper into this. So I'm definitely going to be scheduling another one. But anyway, that's it for me. In summary, just don't be scared. Let's embrace this. Let's accept that AI is here and it's not going away, and it's actually here to help you. It's really here to help you be more efficient, more productive, to get back time in your week is the big one, and to do things that you love. So that's it from me. I really appreciate you logging on. I hope you found this to be really helpful, really insightful. Look out for my next event where we're going to be talking about AI and deep diving a little bit more into a few tools. And like I said before, like I represent Run Go Far. It'd be amiss of me not to say, check us out if you're wanting to use SMS or MMS or voice calling or how to integrate with CRMs. Whether it's us or whether I can just point you in the right direction, I would love to help. And we work with a lot of charities around the world that I hope would say, Adrian's a good guy. Run Go For are great, and they will help you. So check us out. But in the meantime, send me a message, connect with me on LinkedIn if we're not connected. Disagree with me, teach me something. I would love that too. And we will chat again. Thanks so much.